What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Active Self-Protection Extra. I am Christopher Bean with Tactical Advantage, and today we're going to talk about dry firing the Bill Drill.
Lucky Gunner is my recommended trusted provider of Freedom seeds for range or defensive use. In stock, good prices, and rocket fast shipping are why I go back again and again. Because of new guidelines, I can't link their site or say it, but you're smart and you can find it with a simple Google search. Stick it to the man by paying them a visit today.
Hey folks, so I saw a video the other day that Neil put up talking about creating a dry fire program really to go or improve his shooting enough to go shoot for the turbo pin with Gabe White in his pistol shooting solutions class. And that gave me the idea to kind of talk through what I do in dry firing the Bill Drill, how I go about kind of increasing the probability of a higher or a more desirable performance for me, and really what that looks like. So today I thought we'd go through really quick and just kind of talk through that. A couple things I need are my timer, which let me turn that on. All right, and what I'm gonna be using for you guys, much like the last video I put up, I'm gonna be using my Inert Trainer. This is from Grip Keeper, which gives us a visible laser on target to help you guys kind of understand what I see in my sights when I'm doing this. And this is outfitted pretty much like the gun I carry every day, which is an HK VP9 with a red dot and a light. So the first thing that I kind of normally see with Bill Drills, especially people that have erratic results, is they're really kind of thinking about just getting the gun out there and kind of hammering down just for the sake of speed, and they're not actively engaging with what the sights and what the gun is trying to tell them. So really what I've learned to do, or what I try and do, is take the information in dry fire to increase probability of getting what I want. So the first thing I do, especially with the Bill Drill, is I try to have shot one be somewhere on the lower part of the alpha zone, right? And what that does, it allows the timing that I've worked on over the years to kind of work better, because I have more real estate to allow the gun to rise and fall. Versus if my first shot is up here and my timing's wrong or my inputs are incorrect, the probability is kind of more often than not to go outside of the A zone. So really that's just one of the things I kind of try and think about, but let's try and run it. So what I've got on the timer right now is 3.5 seconds. So 3.5 seconds for me allows me a whole bunch of time to be really precise with where I want my shots, really make sure how all the inputs I'm putting into the gun are locked in. The gun's not moving anywhere. My trigger press isn't kind of doing much to it. I can be ultra precise with that. So, and that would also be Gabe White's dark pin time, 3.5 seconds. So really what we'll do is we'll run it, a series of 6 shots. Another thing I do to help with that, so if you're one of those people that when you run a Bill Drill, you have a tendency to run 5 shots, you have a tendency to run 7 shots, a little trick with a little bit of an idea or stint towards neuro-linguistic programming, count out loud, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You guys probably see me do that all the time on video and people think I'm goofy like that, but it helps. I'm kind of actively working throughout the course of the exercise to make sure I'm doing what I need to do. So again, this is pointed at doing an exercise, not application of skill in a real world environment. I know ahead of time I need to do 6 shots, so why not go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and actually get the right amount of shots off on target. So with that being said, let's go ahead and just give it a whirl here. I'm close, but I have to do this to kind of stay in frame for you guys. So first things first, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so we're just a little bit faster than the 3.5 seconds, but you guys saw everything was right in there. There was nothing goofy about how the first shot presented or anything like that, just super tight. not trying to rush. That's the other thing too with dry fire, especially dry firing exercises like this. Do not let the time influence the amount of appropriate care you need to put in that's equitable to your skill level. Yes, certainly you want to stretch sometimes, certainly you want to try and push, but if you do that, you have to interpret the information that you're getting from the target and your sights, really should be sights first, or you're just doing it for the sake of going fast, and those results in the real world when you go to test this in live fire will not equate to what you're hoping to get. So again, we'll try 3.5. This is also an exercise in understanding time and patience. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Easy day. So we know that first shot's coming in over here. So I'm going to show you guys something, and hopefully, if you've tried to do bill drills fast, you might have seen something like this. So with that, I'll go like this. Oh, that first shot, right? What did our sights tell us there? That first shot landed over here, and then we had a big erratic circle, which is kind of my natural path of motion under aggressive trigger press, but that was exaggerated. But we would have probably Charlied there, and we would have probably Charlied there because the timing, my brain wants to stay in timing of what I can normally do here. Versus applying throttle control or impulse management, I would probably just go. So if you guys ever see that, that's the first thing you need to focus on, is how patient are you with that first shot coming on the target. Now the other end of the spectrum is we are way high in the alpha zone. And I want to try and stay a little bit lower in the alpha. So let's go ahead and apply those thoughts to, let's say maybe a 2.5 second par, which is the light pin time for Gabe. So we'll do the same thing. I'll probably just try and do a practice run here. Ding, 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 ding. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Come on, baby. Work with me here. Enter. Sorry, guys. All right, let's go. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, so on shot one, what did our sights tell us? Everything was in, but shot one, we had a vertical there that we should probably work on just a little bit. So I want to keep all 6 of those kind of more towards the center. I'm okay with a little bit of deviation like that. Everything's in there in the acceptable area, but we notice something in that one repetition that we can correct. So let's try and apply a correction. How do I want to do that? Well, first thing, I want to be a little bit more discerning on my first shot on target. Versus just kind of letting it out there and just trusting that the index is going to work. That's another thing I see in like bill drills especially, is some people 100% shoot them on index, or they shoot them on index too far into the string. So I'm kind of good with having a really strong index that you've trained and developed over time. And maybe you have some sort of sight confirmation, be it the rear of the gun, the housing of your dot, something like that, allowing shot one to go a little bit quicker, and you're catching or really understanding your sight picture, maybe shot two, shot three, but it doesn't have to be that way if you're choosing to develop it from shot one. So with that said, let's try again. Oops, my bad. Got a really long delay on this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's what we want. So right there, we were kind of between here and here. We were probably closer to 2 than we were 2.5. So we noticed an issue on the rep previous, and we said, hey, you know what? Shot one, we want to clean up the next iteration just by applying that thinking not necessarily applying anything mechanically to the gun, but just understanding I was a little bit quick on the trigger on the first one. We got a faster result that really needed less input. So with that said, we know 2.5 is good. Let's go ahead and go to 2 and let's see what happens. And our hope is we expose something, we expose an area of weakness or something like that, that gives us something to correct and work on. Because if you're just repeatedly doing the action without understanding what that action is yielding you, you're not really growing, you're just getting better at, well, I shouldn't even say better, more accustomed to doing something a certain way versus applying your skill set to a shooting problem to get or progress the result past what you're currently capable of. So now we're at 2 seconds. So now we're gonna have to kind of go a little bit quickly. Let's see, are we gonna let it go? Are we gonna get some weird deviation in our sights? And that gives us something to work on. So let's go there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so shot 1, we saw a little bit of this down in this lower portion of the circle, still well within it. So I'm perfectly okay with that, but we know that's there. So let's see if we can clean that up a little bit, just being a little bit more careful in our presentation. So what does that mean? So that time we might have been a little bit too hard and got a little bit of boing at the end of our presentation. So maybe this time I'll try and control the end of that same speed, just doing it a little differently. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, still well within it, but we did not have that elliptical kind of travel. So that tells me, and what I'm trying to tell you, is you can influence all of this. You can see it all in your sights. You just have to really pay attention to what the gun's trying to tell you, because really all the gun's trying to tell you is what you're doing to it. If we think about it like that, we can immediately make corrections and immediately make changes that will bring us differing results. And what that does over time, it allows you to kind of, if you have an error, you know what to do right now to fix it while this is happening. So say you had a shot 1 in a bill drill that was doing something like that, that might yield you a Charlie over here or a Charlie over there. Okay, you can get away with that one Charlie and say, all right, correction, and bring everything back to how you want it versus going bing, 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 and just hopscotching all over the target. Again, we're mildly close, but we're running well above the required speed for this drill, and we're doing it within a 3-inch circle, right? So let's just see how fast we can go. And let's see what it looks like. Where does it fall apart? Par. Let's go down to, let's try 180. How's that look? Because at some point, my ability to effectively input or influence what happens is going to be somewhat handicapped. We just want to see where that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, we still made that. Still within the 3-inch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, still made that. So I kind of want to push myself, stretch myself till it opens up a little bit, and then just really interpret what that looks like. Would it have been acceptable? So let's go down to like 1.6. So again, counting just to make sure I get 6 off. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ha ha! Did you guys see that in shot 1? We had a little bit of that. So it was still within the acceptable target area. But let's talk about dry fire versus live fire. So with that kind of deviation in my sights, I got away with it in dry fire, for sure. Now, when you introduce a little bit more upset to the gun with recoil, could that have impacted my timing and caused me a Charlie over here? Yeah, It absolutely could have. So our first break was kind of over here, but once you introduce upward trajectory under recoil, by the time that second shot went off, for me it was over here, but in live fire it was probably over there. So now we have a rep and a time which is causing things to happen that'll probably yield us something we don't want in live. So let's try and fix that up. One, two, three, four, five, six. Okay, that was better. That was definitely better, but still had a little bit of that, but I think that would have been acceptable. Let's try and clean that up some more. So really all I want to do, I don't have a whole bunch of time. Once the gun's out there, I kind of need to take shot one. So can I correct something in my index to make that just a little bit better? I think I can. And really for me, what I think that is getting my support hand on the gun a little bit earlier. So my grip and really the wall or how I'm controlling the gun is there a little bit sooner in the process, eliminating some of that deviation. So let's try again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, that shot one came in over here, but we had a lot less of travel in the sights. Ooh, okay, that was better. And we're at 1.6. Let's try one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, high, everything was in, but that was much more stable. So really, what did we change? All I changed was, okay, I wanted to focus on versus being out here when my support hand gets on the gun. I kind of wanted to be here. So by the time I get that first trigger press off, the gun's already stable. It's that simple. So really, this is kind of how I go through dry firing the bill drill. One, I use descending pars. Two, I really take the information that my sights are giving me and try and make corrections. And once I get through a couple iterations of that, I kind of have a program written, which I can kind of call on whenever I want to get the result I want versus going, okay, I have to do this, I have to do that, I have to do that. That's really what dry fire yields you. You write that program ahead of time. So before we go, just for fun, I would like to do it a couple more times. Okay, so we again had that big deviation on shot one, but I was trying to cook that time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, back vertical versus this. So again, going back to the correction we had before, support hand sooner. Come on, baby. Okay, good. So that's it, the bill drill. Really a draw fire six. It's not super complicated, but you can start creating ways to do it that are incredibly effective and way more repeatable in dry fire. So if you can start in dry fire running it to like 3-inch squares, or even controlling where on the alpha you want your first hit to be, you can really start changing the way you're doing it and start controlling and getting exact numbers you want. If you guys have ever seen someone running this drill and say, hey, this time I'm going to run a 2.25. That's kind of where this comes from. A very strong understanding of your skill application coupled with time, and those things just start getting incredibly consistent. So with that said, hopefully this helps. We're going to have some other videos doing some other drills, but all of these same concepts apply, and hopefully that's helpful for you guys. But at the end of the day, I do want to say the laser is really just a representation of what's happening in my sights. That's the moral of all of this, is really understanding what your sights are telling you in dry fire, so you can effectively make changes to get your sights to behave the way you want. So with that, I will see you guys next time. Thanks.
Download the Asp Unlimited app for all the content you love from Active Self Protection and more with no interference from YouTube. No ads, no age gates, exclusive videos, seminars, classes, and more on iOS, Android, Apple TV, Roku, Amazon Fire, and Android TV. Hit the link in the description or download Asp Unlimited from your app store today.